climbing just a bit. Maybe we'll give them about 30 seconds or one more minute before we begin. Okay, that number seems to have leveled off a bit, so I think we're good to go ahead and get started this morning. Thank you everybody for joining us. I know it's a beautiful day outside, so I appreciate you taking time to join us at this 11 o'clock meeting as we begin to take a further look at the Virtual Virginia expansion and continue our view from the central office. And today we're taking a look at coaching and technology coaches in school divisions and sharing out some of their expertise and what they've learned about implementing a learning management system. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Brian Mott. I'm the Executive Director of Virtual Virginia. I will share my video just for a brief moment. I am on vacation and I am next to the pool. So I'm gonna stop my video just in case we have any unexpected guests joining us today. Again, we have Rod from VISTI again this week. And our special presenters are Stephanie from York County, Katie from Prince William County, Beth from Hampton City, and Lori from York County. So we really look forward to hearing from them and have them share their experiences from their divisions. Just as a reminder for those of you joining us for the first time, we're talking about Virtual Virginia and how it will be deployed in your divisions. And again, just remember that Virtual Virginia, we are the DOE's online course, professional learning, and digital content provider to schools and educators across the Commonwealth. And in the expansion of Virtual Virginia, divisions are going to be receiving a platform that they can scale their online content delivery in either fully online or blended methods to their students by their teachers. And again, it is delivered through a learning management system, so it is a robust platform. And throughout the onboarding process, you're really going to be bringing in your entire ecosystem. It's going to be your school personnel, your teachers, and your students. So as we started these webinars, we wanted to take a first look what that looked like from the central office. And as we transition to bringing on teachers and other personnel and staff in your divisions, it was really important to hear from these people in leadership positions to share their experiences. Again, the content will be available K through 12 for next year on this platform and beyond. So you'll have not only the platform to use, but also resources that you can populate into courses for your teachers to use with your students. And then again, the big piece of this entire project is professional learning. The training and support for your central office, for your school administrators, for your counselors, educators, and other staff and personnel in your division is critical. And we've collaborated with many partners to get the project off and running. And today joining us is VISTI, obviously to coordinate these trainings going forward. And their role is very important as we begin to deploy the professional development. Rod, could you share a little bit about VISTI's role in the professional learning for this process?
Sure. So this is where VISTI comes in engaging with the professional learning aspect of this, and certainly with coaches that we're featuring today. And during the month of July, we're moving through with working through Virtual Virginia, the Virginia Department of Education, and VISTI as moving towards the development of those plans for training for the representatives from those participating school divisions. And then those representatives can go back to their school divisions and customize and personalize that as they need into August and beyond. And this is an ongoing project for some time to come as school divisions adopt, adapt, and advance the use of learning management systems and the Virtual Virginia content moving forward. So VISTI's in this for the long haul, and we're glad to be a partner in making this happen across the Commonwealth. Which the role of the coaches is extremely important, and we do have 4 guests with us today, as Brian mentioned, and we'll move through each of them and get a little bit of an idea of their perspective on how this moves forward, their roles, how they can support teachers, and some of the things that teachers can expect as they move forward with moving into this this implementation. So we'll start off with first up, I believe, is Stephanie from York County. Stephanie, if Brian, if you can move that slide forward, and then Stephanie, if you can open up your mic and share with us your perspective on this.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me on this panel today. It is truly something I am passionate and excited about for our future. Just a little bit about myself. I'm finishing up my 14th year in education, most of it spent in the secondary social studies classroom. This is actually my first year as an IIC, what York County School Division calls an instructional innovation coach, commonly referred to as ITRTs or ITCs in other divisions. And so I feel like it is, you know, trial by fire or baptism by fire. It was the craziest year I could ever enter this position, but I have absolutely loved it. I am also a virtual high school teacher for York County School Division's completely online program, and I've been doing that since 2011. So that kind of gives me a unique perspective on teaching online, experience with that, and staying connected to the classroom, even though I am in a coach's role now. So that being said, during our COVID closure, our school division decided to take a big leap and dive into a brand new one-to-one initiative for all of our students, K through 12. That has been really exciting to see getting started with different implementation and organizing committees and all that that entails. And we decided to implement a brand new LMS, Canvas, and we have been transitioning to that new LMS, and it has taken a lot of time to definitely familiarize myself with Canvas and consider what would be the best next steps for our teachers. So as soon as COVID happened, we used kind of what was at hand, and in our division, that was Microsoft Teams. We are a Microsoft division, but in planning for the future, we realized we needed a true LMS, something that would meet all of our needs, and that is when we took the leap into Canvas. And so you'll see my first bullet is encouraging you to create a truly self-paced training resource. And of course, there are so many in the Canvas Commons for you to choose from. A fellow IIC who's sharing later as another coach and I combined together, collaborated, and created for our division a student training course and a teacher training course that they can keep as reference and complete in its entirety in order to earn a badge and PD points, of course, for our teachers. And so we examined the Canvas Commons, but then put together, using the resources, the videos, the handouts that Canvas already has, something specific for York County School Division. When I shared it on Twitter, I had other educators reach out. And so that's when I said, you know what, I'm gonna kind of remove the York County from it and just put out kind of a generic Canvas version, because I really believe in good teaching karma. I really believe you've got to work smarter, not harder. And so I want to encourage you, if you are interested, you can search the Canvas Commons and use those keywords: Canvas teacher training, Canvas student training, and what we created has an orange border around each of the course cards. And we even set forth an introductory module, something that our teachers would all import as the start of their course. And that allows for some consistency with our teachers, with our classes, and for our students. So my best advice is to create and develop what your teachers need and share it so they can reference it, because so many of your teachers will be in different places. My next encouraging words of advice, of course, are to stay organized. In this virtual environment, it's so easy to get overwhelmed with files and folders. And so I wanted to provide a place for my teachers to be able to easily access my directions, my handouts. When they're up late working in the middle of the night and don't have easy access to me, I wanted them to be able to find what they needed. So in our Microsoft Teams, I have access to different recordings, and I share those with my teachers so that they need to move a little slower, or if they want to refer back to it. And it's just important that everything is organized and easy for them to access. And my last piece of encouragement to you all is to celebrate success. This will be brand new for so many of your teachers. I was actually in a Canvas training earlier this morning with our division secondary social studies teachers, the high school teachers, and they commented in the chat, it's going to be like year one, first year of teaching for so many people in the fall, even if they're veteran experienced teachers. And I just, I want you to celebrate their success with them, be available to them, share the fun and engaging and creative pieces of Canvas to hook your teachers. It's not just about the basic needs to know. You can really personalize what you're presenting to students and still have those deep connections, even in a virtual environment. And you should highlight what your teachers are trying and specific engagement tools and different design elements within Canvas. Share within your school, within your division. And I encourage you to put it on Twitter. That's where so many of us go to grow our own PLN. I have to share, I was, perusing Twitter. That's what every good instructional coach does, right? And I saw that one of our other coaches on this panel, Katie, had tweeted out some buttons she had designed in Canva, different than Canvas. And I said, oh yeah, Lori and I have been working on something. And then we shared ours and like, oh, have you tried this? That is the magic we need to have happen in this upcoming fall. And we just need, that collaboration to be very genuine. And I guess I just want to close my little piece. Again, perusing Twitter, I follow an account called Teacher Goals, and they had shared motivational quote that said, the upcoming school year might be one of the toughest ever to be an educator. It also might be the most exciting and revolutionary year ever. Mindset will be critical. And I feel like that's where us as coaches will come in. It's normal for our teachers to have concerns and fears and be anxious and stressed, but we set the tone. We can change people's mindsets. And so I just want to encourage you to stay organized, create resources for your teachers, training courses, and then celebrate that success. And of course, reach out on Twitter to collaborate.
Thank you, Stephanie. Yes, and that's so important. That's why as part of this webinar series, we're connecting you with a great platform, great content, but also great people. And those connections are really, really valuable.
Yeah,
next
Stephanie,
up,
I would encourage you, I'm sorry, but Stephanie, encourage you to put your Twitter handle maybe in that chat so people could reach out to you that way, or any of the other links. Also in the chat, Karen Richardson has posted some of these resources that you have created could be also added to that Go Open Virginia platform to share out with others. I also like the way you started with building that cross-functional team to get those different perspectives as we move forward, and making sure that everybody's represented in that. So, and then Brian, were you going to introduce our next coach?
Sure, yeah. Our next coach's view is from Katie in Prince William County.
Hey guys, I'm Katie. I'm a high school ITC in Prince William County, finishing my 16th year in education. So I just wanted to give you some tips that have worked for me. This will be my second LMS that I've implemented in my school. My first was 3 years ago, was Google Classroom, but Canvas is so much more robust. It can do so much, and I think it's gonna be a really powerful tool, especially as we are still in COVID. And if you are a coach, you know that like coaching people remotely through this time is like an animal in itself. And something that's really helped me with my teachers is hosting consistent virtual office hours. So they know every day they can reach me, come into a Google Meet, a video conference, and meet and talk to me face-to-face, share their screen, and we can work through their problems. So having that consistent available time for them, one is helpful for them to, but also helpful for you to set boundaries, because you do have a lot of tasks as a coach. So setting those regular office hours gives them their time, but also gives you your time. So you're not working 12-hour days, which can be really hard when we're working remotely to separate the work and the personal life when we're all doing it in the same rooms. The second thing that I want to recommend, and Stephanie talked about this, was pulling something in from the Commons to use for your training your teachers. I found the Grow with Canvas course in the Commons. What I really liked about that was it was 6 modules, so it really showed teachers how a module is set up. And it was also available in Spanish, because I do have some teachers who their home language is Spanish, and it's always easier to learn something in your home language. So that was really one reason I chose that one. Also, running that class, so I had, all of my teachers in it doing it. They were submitting assignments. I really got to understand that end of the Canvas, not just the course development, but the grading and the feedback aspect. So I'm better able to help my teachers with those aspects of using this LMS. And finally, like those things in the Commons are great to pull in, but it is also really important for even us as coaches to develop some stuff and practice making modules and making pages and quizzes. So I made several like one-to-one instructional like practices, modules for my teachers to do this summer. So I got to practice by making them, and I'll continue to get to practice the feedback portion and the discussion boards through the summer as they complete those. And lastly, small chunks of training in a day. So I and several of my ITC colleagues in Prince William County, we spent a week and we put a boot camp on for all of our teachers at our schools. And so every day people came for an hour, and it was followed up by an hour of Q&A. So there was basically 5 different topics that came each day. And then we provided those people that attended a follow-up recording. So it was a really great experience because it was just an hour a day. They weren't sitting there for 3 or 5 hours learning everything you could about Canvas. It was just specific topics. And I think that helped people a lot. We moved 50% of the people were a 1 or a 2 on the scared to excited scale. And then afterwards, we only had 5% of people on the scared end of the scale. So that was, I thought, a big win, is we moved 45 people to a 3 or higher. So small chunks. And lastly, also provide teachers resources. And I have one that I've created here on the screen. So I created a course that shows teachers how to embed all the other cool ed tech tools that they use into Canvas. And also in that same course is a lot of ways to do SPED and L accommodations. Because I think accessibility for all students is going to be something really important for us as coaches to emphasize as we're implementing this LMS, especially if we're remote at times. Because those accommodations can be done with these tools. Canvas has a lot of ways to implement those accommodations, and teachers just need to be aware of them. So those are my tips for implementing a new LMS. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Katie. And that's great. I think I really like how you highlighted how you expected teachers to be, nervous or scared and have fear, or maybe even doubt initially, but you were able to work through that with training and make them feel more comfortable. Next,
And
we have. Oh, sorry,
okay,
Ron, go ahead.
I was going to agree with you there, and then just reassuring that, and then also the way that you allowed teachers to see their own growth, and that builds their confidence as well as their competence as they're moving through this, and makes them feel more at ease as they progress, and that's really important going into a lot of the uncertainty that's ahead of us in the coming school year. So thank you, Katie, for sharing. Go ahead, Brian.
Joining us next, we have Beth from Hampton City.
Hey, everybody. I am super excited to be here. I'm finishing up my 20th year with Hampton City Schools and my 13th year of being a ITRT, CITT, and now we're switching to a DLS, which is a digital learning specialist. So just another acronym to throw out there for everybody. So with the closing of the schools, we found that our teachers needed a lot of support, a lot of extra support. But moving into a new LMS, we're going to have to provide them so much more. So what we've learned is that our teachers want these webinars. They need these webinars. And we've found that we do level 1 webinars, and then we do level 2. And that really helps them learn slowly and at their level and at a pace to where they can learn from that. And then the level 2 takes that even further. And we also talk about best practices, because a virtual learning platform is totally different than that face-to-face piece. So giving them some tips with the virtual piece. The other piece that we did was a virtual help desk, and we're going to continue to do this going into the fall. And my department, we did hours from 8 to 3, Monday through Friday, and we all took an hour throughout the day, and we sat on a Google Meet link, and it was the same the entire time. Teachers could jump on, ask a question, and it was really nice because they could share their screen with us. We can show them how to fix it. We can give them tips or tricks for anything that they're having problems with. So moving forward, we're going to continue to do this and provide this opportunity for teachers to jump on saying, hey, something's not working. Can you help me? And all it takes is that one quick second to help them. And they're like, oh, thank you. That's all they need. And then the last thing that we did, we created an online teaching methodology course. And we're going to continue this probably into the fall as well, to where the teachers have to watch one of our webinars on Zoom, because so many things can happen with Zoom, all kinds of stuff. So we've done a webinar with them. We've done best practices. Then they have to take a quiz. And then they're going to create a lesson and share with us that lesson to provide those opportunities for students virtually to connect and do, because we know kids can't sit for hours listening to someone talk to them. So with this opportunity for teachers to learn this, they learn to get the kids moving, getting them to raise their hand. So we're going to continue this into the fall. I do have to say that we haven't jumped into Canvas yet. However, our health and PE department, they are our crash test team for everything. And they're going to be doing a lot of testing with Canvas, telling us what works, what doesn't work, best practices with it. And so we're really super excited to jump into that once they've experienced all of the magic of Canvas for us. So that's what's happening in Hampton City Schools at the moment.
And it's great to hear where you guys are in the process. Like so many divisions present today, you're just now jumping into this with Canvas. So I like what you've done and how you've evolved. You have your new roles, right? Your DLS and these new duties that everybody has and these new skills that teachers are learning. You have to really keep building on those, like as you mentioned, into the fall. So your approach sounds really sound. It sounds like you've got a lot of good things going on in Hampton.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. The entry point, the level 1, and then leveling up to level 2. So again, acknowledging that people are going to be at different places, and meeting teachers where they are, and then helping them to progress. So sound plan you have in place.
Thank you.
And our final presenter today, we're going back to York County with Lori. Lori, take it away.
Hi guys, thanks. I'm super excited to be here. This is finishing up my 10th year in education. I've spent my career in York County. I've taught middle school English and science. And just as Stephanie said, we kind of made the jump together. We're partners in crime in York County, the dynamic duo. And this is also my first year as an IIC, so an instructional innovation coach. So definitely an interesting year, baptism by fire, as she mentioned. But it has been an incredible experience. So what I have experienced this year, that in this virtual world, relationships are even more critical. We all know that as coaches, forming those bonds with your teachers is really how we make real change happen, how we support teachers. And so really, don't wait for your teachers to come to you. You've got to be proactive, and you've got to offer up options for them. And it's really about how you sell it too. Some of the other coaches have mentioned, the anxiety that teachers feel trying something new, a new LMS. We had really, Stephanie mentioned about, we used Microsoft Teams. We really kind of just got everybody using that and comfortable. And then we said, okay, now we're making the switch to Canvas. And there was a lot of anxiety over that. And so it's really about how you present it. It's really about, we're not just making a change, but showing and highlighting the positives. What can Canvas do that we couldn't do in Teams, and really highlighting the major benefits. So be proactive. Don't wait for teachers to come to you for questions, but just keep highlighting and showing off the great things that they can do. And, really keeping that connection, emails, notes in the mail. I'm a big Twitter shout out person as well. I made 107 shout outs for my teachers and posted them on Twitter for Teacher Appreciation Week. But because they need that confidence and they need that recognition. This is a new job for some of our teachers. Some of them are my former teachers that are still really, giving everything they've got to the world of education. And this is not the job that they started 20 or 30 years ago. So we really have to recognize all the steps made forward and made in that progress. So definitely, those personalized notes and those personalized connections to say, I know you're trying and I know you're doing what, you're progressing in this new world. I think that helps formalize those relationships and helps as we continue to grow. I also find that doing a survey, Katie mentioned, seeing where they were to start, but finding out what do teachers miss most from the face-to-face interactions that they have with their kids. This spring is tough. Kids missed field trips and field day and all these activities that are so meaningful for our students. So I really tried to, again, focus on how can I support, how can I help without it being I'm pushing a change. So I tried to find out what were they missing out the most on. A lot of people, it was the field trip. So I tried to figure out how can we embed some virtual field trips or some interactive webcams, taking the kids virtually to the zoo, really reaching out and say, how can I help you recreate something that you're sad that you're missing? And I had a lot of positive response for that, because it wasn't just you need to learn this new technology, but it's how can I help you see that technology is a tool that's going to help you in your instruction. And my last thought, my last experience from this year is that this virtual world, the coaching cycle isn't impossible. It's definitely my favorite aspect of being an instructional coach, is going into classrooms and doing observations and talking with teachers about goals that they have. And that definitely isn't impossible now. And if anything, it's more relevant at this time. So talking to teachers that, come see my live session, I'm going to hold a live meeting in Teams and I'm just going to go over some things. I love to go in and observe and say, okay, you recorded it, go back and look at it. What did you think? How did you engage all of your students? How could you have reached out to more of your students? How can we get more students involved in these live sessions? So the coaching cycle isn't impossible, but you do have to get creative. So this is an amazing time for coaches to reach out and say, what instructional goals do you have for this virtual instruction that we're experiencing? And working with those teachers to set mini goals personal to them, things that mean something to them, and really being able to support them in those individual goals. So it's definitely been an interesting year, a lot of learning curves for myself as well as my teachers, but it's been an amazing journey. And so I'm just so grateful that I got to come and share some of my experiences with all of you.
Thank you, Lori. And, as I reflect, I took notes here today, as I'm sure most of you have attending. A lot of this is, coaches are establishing new roles and recognizing the things that are changing, but it's things that coaches have traditionally done. They're organized, they're building relationships, they're developing training for their divisions to support teachers. So it's really great to hear from all of our presenters, Stephanie, Katie, Beth, and Lori, talking about how they've approached this in their division, all at different places too, all at different milestones in their timeline of adopting a learning management system. So we thank you all for joining us today. Rod, do you want to take us and close us up with any Q&A or questions from the group?
Well, certainly, and I know Sarah, you've been monitoring that Q&A document, and Karen, if you want to chime in with some questions. But thank you again to the four panelists and your perspectives on that. As Brian said, differing places. Just one of the notes that Lori had mentioned about that coaching cycle and teachers getting started, and everybody's got that anxiety, but moving through that and seeing that that cycle is there. If you're getting started, that's good, and then let's look through how we can get better and take opportunities to reflect and celebrate those successes on some of your best work thus far, and move teachers along through that, just as we expect for our learners in the classrooms, providing those same opportunities and feedback for teachers. So Sarah or Karen, was there anything from the Q&A?
So this is Karen. I'm just posting that all the materials, the recording, once we get it, there's also a YouTube stream recording that you can watch, the Q&A document, the slides, as well as the certificate of attendance will all be posted to that VISTI.org link that's there. I'll see if I can drop it in again. And you can access it via their for as long as VISTI.org's website's available. And we'll get stuff pushed out. Lots of interest in the outline. So Beth and I will work together to get that out. And you will receive an email with some information, follow-up recording links and all those sorts of things. But I like Rita's question. So how do I get started? VISTI will be doing training throughout the summer, but Rita, if it makes you feel any better, I'm still waiting to get access to my version of Canvas. So we're all kind of standing here getting excited about how to do things. I'm hoping I can insert my Bitmoji classroom that I created this week into a Canvas. I'm sure Katie can help me do that. And I think we're all eager to get it started. And so now that you've got your curiosity piqued, keep checking your emails from both us and Virtual Virginia, and we'll be pushing out the information about the Train the Trainer program as it gets going. Thanks, everybody. Thanks. A big thank you to Rod Carnell, yay, the VISTI Board of Directors Chair, who will also be VISTI's lead on this project.
So now I'll follow up with that, Karen, that reaching out to any of the panelists today, I know that several of them recommended, following, this conversation on Twitter and, seeing what's out there, what's new, sharing some of your perspectives, concerns with others, and seeing that the group will respond with ways that you can move forward. And as Karen said, I'm going to be managing this project from VISTI's perspective. And so reaching out to me, if I don't know the answer, I know I can find somebody who does. There's a lot of expertise that we can tap in through the Virginia Society for Technology and Education. So keep that in mind as you move forward and, raise the questions, reach out to people, and we'll all move this forward together. So thank you for attending today.
Okay, I'm going to pause the recording now, and if anybody wants to stick around for questions, feel free.
I did see a question in the Google Doc about whether Zoom was going to continue to be free. I have no idea. And we're obviously running on not a free account if we can have 1,000 people in the room. So hopefully it will. And Canvas doesn't have a built-in like telecon. It uses some other teleconferencing tool. Is that true?
Yeah, I think currently it's Big Blue Button.
Oh, okay.
But at Virtual Virginia, we use Zoom. We use
Right.
the outside service.
Yeah, good.